Welcome to Coach's Corner. This is episode 6. The episode title is called Career in Sport, and I'm joined with Andrew Hills. Now, let me tell you something. Andrew's been mentioned quite a few times in the Coach's Corner podcast for many different reasons. So I wanted, for those that haven't heard of him, met him, put a face to the name. And I've been really,
face.
Yeah, a good-looking face. We'll give you that. We'll give you a bit of an insight to why we keep speaking about him, the pathway, the journey that he's currently on, and it's quite early stages, but it's been even earlier, and there's been a real transformation in him, and like I said, it's very early stages. So, Andrew, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I've known you for quite some time. I think I worked it out from about 7. Maybe 6, 7, that sort of age.
Coming up to about 12 years now.
Yeah, coming up to about 12 years, so quite a long time. So he's obviously joined me on a massive part of my journey, and he's on the early stages now of starting his. So my first question is, can you tell us what it's like starting football at such a young age, which is what you did, and the experiences that you've had with coaching from myself, from others, but you started young. What made you start football?
I mean, as long as I can remember, I had a ball at my feet. I mean, it's a very stereotypical answer, but it's very truthful that pretty much I was with that kid that I wore shin pads, socks, boots everywhere we went. If my parents said, "Oh, come on, dress up nice," I'd come down in my finest football kit, and that was me dressing up nice until I was about 9 or 10. So I just sort of fell in love with it early, and then my parents got me into playing, took me down on a Saturday I think I started at SEL when I was like 4. I started playing that, and then went to Mitchell Athletic when I was 6. So I was in early doors, and then I fell into the complete family that you can never get out of, age 7. And then from there, just sort of kept it going, playing local grassroots football, and then just kept it going up. And
let me ask you a question. Mufti day.
Oh, shin pads, boots, the lot. I remember one mufti day.
You're so that guy. Astros.
No.
Socks.
No. Hear me out on this, because I remember one day I went in boots, and they made me take my They made me get some, like, you know, like the PE cupboard has like spare plimsolls. They wouldn't let me walk around in socks, so I had to go and get some plimsolls out the cupboard.
You're so you. That's so you. Like Mufti day, rocks up, finest Fulham kit, shin pads. Socks.
I think the only time I didn't wear a Fulham kit is when a couple of us, I think it was 2 or 3 of us, one of which I actually live with at uni now, and we all agreed to wear the same kit, and we walked in and we thought we looked like real cool, but looking back on it, we must have just looked so tragic. 3 8-year-olds all wearing. I remember it was the England away kit, black and blue shorts. It was. I remember it vividly. So
I know you said like you come into the family, but one of the I've had a lot of thinking recently about the business model that we have, and I fell in love with coaching, the passion, the rewards you get from a look on someone's face, like the feedback you might get from someone, parents, you know, other coaches, and just see the good stuff that you're doing. They're my rewards that I get. And the one thing that I would say our model, and it's what our business model, our coaching model is about, is a lot of these people that we're coaching are actually coming into coaching, and we're taking them on as like coaches for us. And what I really love about that is the fact that they've experienced a half-term camp, they've experienced a junior academy camp, they've experienced a PE lesson with our coaches, and they can see our philosophy, our ethos, how we work. And you are like a prime example of that, because I know we taught at your school, done PE lessons at your school, after school clubs, half-term holiday camps, junior academy. You've experienced all of that as a child. We've obviously experienced you through that, and the ups, the downs, the cries, the tears, the celebrations, the every emotion. But what I love about our model is the fact that somebody that has come all the way through that system, worked for us, and sort of replicated that, and now you're starting your journey, it's like you can take little bits that you've enjoyed from it, push the bits away that you haven't enjoyed. So you're very much an example, and we've got more people like that are working for us now that have experienced that.
That's one thing I'll give that Complete is so unique in, is that the coaches, I think 80-90% of them have been the kids on camp. So they've been the kids in the academy. So, and especially for me going into that environment, I thought, right, well, I remember what maybe Coach Ben or Coach Shane, they did for me when I was on that camp, Coach Lee, and these people that I think, right, that did really well. So I know as a kid what a kid enjoys on that camp or what a kid enjoys at the academy. And I go, right, I'm going to do that. And I sort of lead off my own experiences. And that's something that I think Complete is very unique in.
Well, it leads me on to my next question. So question 2 that I brought down is, have you got any standout memories from those early coaching sessions that have sort of stuck with you? I've got mine with you, but have you got any that stand out for you?
I think I'm going to say the same one as you. From those sessions, I think there was one session at Samuel Cody. Yeah, that was when I first sort of, football was like, it was fun, but I never really thought I was any good. And I remember there was one session and we did one practice. It was like a match when there was 2 pitches going across each other. It was chaos. And I remember I was on the same team as Connor Willock. And oh my God, I think I must have scored about 10 goals. And like, I remember you saying afterwards, like we ran the show and stuff like that. That's one that stood out for me because that was like the most at that point that I'd ever enjoyed playing football. And I was like, that was amazing. And I was saying to my mum, when can I play next? When can I play next? I was in the garden and I was recreating the goals I'd scored like 20 minutes later when I got home. And that for me stuck out. And that sticks with me now because I'm like, if I can have players that I coach now have this much fun, right? Because I'm still, in terms of like coaching, very new. I don't claim to have all the answers yet, and I don't want to have all the answers yet because I've got a long way to go before I'm the quote-unquote finished article. But I think what I know right now is if I can have these kids have the most fun they can, they will want to get better. And if I can give them that early love for the sport, then I give them the building blocks to be the best player they can be, to go and play where they want to and be the player they want to be.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's one of mine leads off of that session there. I go back a bit earlier, and I think the journey of like passion that I think like Ash Manor days when you were really young, and I can picture it now because we gave away the green tops with the big logo on the front, and you were quite young. You must have been like 7 or 8, and I remember being outside on the Ash Manor 3G and then going into the hall because it was raining and we were doing like some indoor 5-a-side, and I remember you lost. We were doing we've done some coaches challenges, we've done like some and you lost, and the tears started forming, and then it come on a regular basis, like you were crying and because you lost. And I was speaking to your dad about it and he was telling me, he's just like really emotional about, and then like that little bit of journey that eventually the tears started stopping. And then you started focusing, and then it leads on to what you said there, because that Samuel Cody session and group was filled with a lot of good players.
I mean, you look at where some of them are now.
Yeah. I mean, Harvey was there, Hayden was there. Obviously, he's at Aldershot now. You had like Jarman, who's down with us at Frimley.
Mate.
You got Dan
Barrett.
Yeah.
Elliott Miles.
So that was a real like hot session down there. Go forward a little bit further. I remember I wanted to run showcase games. And do you remember the showcase games where I got blue tops and red tops with the numbers?
Right, so I got a clip come up on, how iPhone gives you like memories and stuff. And I had a clip come up of that, and it was off of kickoff. And I think I looked at who I was playing against, and I think I tackled Hayden, took it past Jaden, took it past Elliott, passed it to Harvey, and I thought, mate, player at Aldershot, player at Maidenhead, and I look at that and I go, that was some group. Yeah,
it was, and that's the thing. Like, I think we went from those Samuel Cody sessions, which was like 11s, 12s and stuff, and this is a jump into when you're 15, and I think you've always had that thing that you probably never realised how like you were good. Because you were around that sort of group and you thought, they're they're better. And then there was that game, that game where I think you got man of the match at the end of
Yeah.
it. And I was just like, I said to you, like, you're playing against some good lads here. This is how good you are. Like, it was a little bit of a realisation. And that's always just like a fond memory. There's different points. I think it was the emotional side that you eventually got through. And then it was like the belief side of it after, which was great. So it's always been a passion. So, at what point did you realise you wanted to pursue football coaching as a potential career?
Well, I'll be honest, it wasn't the first time I did it, because I remember I think I was 15 and I just came down and volunteered because I remember being at the camps and I was like, I'm too old for this now. I'm too old for it, because it gets to a point where you are and you want to do more with your time. And I thought, well, I'll go out and volunteer because it's good for me. It's a good experience. And then I did that. It was nice. And then my parents were on at me, oh, you need a job. Summer of year 11, they were like, you need to start earning money. You need to start earning money. I thought, well, I took the easy route. I'll go to Chris. I'll earn a bit of money off him. I'll go do the camps. It's not really work, it's football. And I did that in that summer, but it was a couple months before that. If you remember that 16 season, when I got injured, shock. And I was on the bench with you because I came down to watch, and I remember just seeing pictures on the pitch, and I was like, oh my God, we need to do that. We need to do this. And I remember just being like tapping you on the shoulder every 2 minutes. Yeah. And you must have been, the fact that you didn't snap was amazing now looking back on it. But I was just there tapping you on the shoulder, giving you this, like, this player needs to do that. What if we do this? And I remember going home that day and I was thinking, oh, lovely. And I logged on to Football Manager and I was like, oh, now I'm seeing this and that. And then it grew and grew. And then I was working in the summer and I thought, hang on, I'm actually quite good at this.
Yeah. See, that's also a difference. That's a topic, the Football Manager side of it, because not really been like a FIFA sort of player, really, stuff. It's more Football Manager.
When I did play FIFA as a kid, I was career mode. I was career mode. I loved the camaraderie of taking a team from League 2. I loved building. I was always one of them. I was like, right, get me straight in the youth academy, get me a 16-year-old with high potential, let me build him into a star. I loved that story. I was never really the ultimate team.
But that's coaching as well.
Yeah.
That's
sort of when I then moved into coaching, I thought, oh, well, I know this because I like doing this, and this is something that. And I remember it was really apparent. I think it was the second year I was doing camp, so it would have been summer 23, and there was a kid that had come down the year before for the first time, and he reminded me of myself in a way. He wasn't the strongest, and he would cry a lot and stuff like that. And I remember him coming back a year later and being just like a different animal. And we'd been coaching him throughout the year, and I remember seeing that, and it was a sense of pride. It's like, oh, I've had the pleasure of having an impact on your growth as not just a player but as a human, and being able to help people in that way and be selflessness and have a job out of it. I thought, oh, this is wonderful. And I was like, right, let's go get the next one. Let's go get 20 people here that are on my pitch in front of me, and let's make them all a better person by next year. Yeah,
and mate, it's really funny you say that, because we had the conversation literally this week with our staff, and I said to him, I was like, if you've got a passion for this, you'll enjoy the rewards you get. And I you know, that little smile, that feedback, that progression that you see, that, and it's not going to be overnight. Like, I think the process of you being at tears to you stop crying was quite a long one, but it was quite like, I was speaking to your dad for a long time in the early stages. I was just like, it's fine, let it, like, it's, you know, you hear of the stories of Ronaldo when he was younger, just like constantly crying because he lost. It was literally that was with you. That it was, and then you stopped and you realised, well, hold on, these tears aren't going to help me. My actions are going to help me. But yeah, I think with that, I'm like also tapping into, you obviously came onto the college program.
Yes, I did.
Which is also, it's been quite good for you because you were in the college program, but also the coaching started happening, and you got to the point where even at the early stages, 16, 17, 18, you become, to me, quite a valuable, trustworthy person. Like, you would lead groups at camps, you would head up some sessions down at the lodge, you know, for the junior academy stuff. So, and what I quite like is you never, because sometimes when I look at like coaches and then they bring other coaches through, they look like mini me's, whereas I haven't really seen myself in you or a bit of Lee in you. You definitely got your own. You've got your own sort of profile which you've created, and that's quite early, because even when I was younger and I was going to view sessions, watch sessions, I would then go to the next session. I'd feel like I'm like that coach.
Yeah.
Whereas you've never really looked like. You've looked like what I would say a complete coach, but your own sort of profile.
That's something I've got now in my current job that I have, is that I'm loving it, and the company I work for is great, and they've given me so much like freedom in to have my own team, and I get a lot of freedom in what I do. I get to plan my own sessions. I get to it's a big responsibility. I get to coach a group of 10 children. I get to coach them my way. It's a big responsibility. But one thing that they have is they have like a coach's ethos, and it's like every coach needs to be like this and this, and I'm like, but why can't I do it my way? I think, can I take what I have and then add what they want me to do, and sort of mesh it into creating a better identity?
Your own profile. Just a little bit on that, sort of tapping in for that player to coach, like the transition. And you've obviously mentioned it once there, when you were injured, you were standing on the sideline, you started seeing pictures. I think your football IQ's very high, and I think it's from playing the game, from being coached, to even the football manager side of it, sort of just everything, you've got that sort of like, I don't know, that almost like that football autism about like the detail.
Fully.
Do you know what I mean? And very fully invested within it. So when I talk about experiences of you as a player shaping it into coaches, you think the difficulties that I might have had with you, like what is your approach to coaching now from what you've experienced? Like, how do you approach what is your aims when you're in a session? So you're in your working for this new company. What is your sort of objective and aims with it?
First and foremost, and it is a staple in what I've been taught at uni and what I sort of had in my mind before, is that with the age that I coach, sort of under 10s, up until realistically under 12s, 13s, when they go into secondary school and even their life just gets a bit more serious, just make it fun. Like, how can you expect a kid to want to, especially like, I remember on Saturday, like first session back after Christmas, it's -2. There's ice on the Astro. The session really shouldn't have been on, but it was on. Okay. And these kids are like, how can you expect a kid to be passionate to come out early in the morning and play in freezing conditions when they don't enjoy it? So for me, first and foremost, fun. I have good player-coach relationships. I make sure that there's an element of fun. We can have a laugh and a joke. If I've got quite a few United fans, so that's easy at the minute with them. But make it fun foremost, and then secondly, can I make sure that in some capacity they are a better player and a better person than they were at the start of the session? And I say player and person because you are responsible for them as humans over that time that you have them, and if you can make them a better person, great. Yes, they're there to be footballers, but at the same time, football is a big part of their lives as young children, and they need to become better people at the same time. And there's a lot of lessons you can learn about life through football, because it's something that they enjoy, so they're more likely to learn through that than they are in the classroom, realistically.
And it's a topic almost in itself, and you can think of so many different things. And I was speaking with Sam Hawkins in here in the last podcast, and he made a good point which made me think after it. He goes, if you're in a coffee shop and you see someone tuck in their chair after they leave, it says a lot about that person, like the values that they have.
I tell you what, I listened to that podcast, and then the next day I was out in Windsor, and I was in a coffee shop, and I saw someone not tuck their chair in, and I made sure when I left, I tucked in my chair and the person I was with.
Well, it's funny because we went down to Portsmouth in a game, stopped off halfway back up. Lads wanted to go into the McDonald's and the services, fine. Went in there, sat down, and then I thought to myself, I'd just done the podcast the week before, and they were all eating there, and I was like, right, lads, we're going to go. And I wanted to be the last one out because all of their food was on the table. and I didn't want to say anything at first. I normally would say, like, you know, put your stuff, like, throw your stuff away. Thought, have a look here, see who does it. One person picks their back. One person out of the whole squad picks their stuff up, which wasn't actually McDonald's. It was other stuff that they bought from the shop. So you sort of
I know who it is.
and went and put it in the bin.
Yeah.
And then so they started walking towards the door, and I was like, whoa, back you come, tidy up your thingies. That one person who you know already is the person at the end of training session that's going around picking up the bibs, tidying up, and, you know,
doing about 100 keepy-ups as well.
Yeah, doing it. So you know exactly who it is, but it's those morals, like, it's those life skills where, you know, you get up in the morning, you make your bed, you know, ready for, you know, and all those little bits. And at the end of the, you know, the tidying up around sessions, or can I help you with this? Like, you done it actually quite relevant last night. I noticed a lot of stuff. They finished the warm up. The boys have gone inside. Ro's over there trying to put the balls in the bag. You come over, Ro. I'll put all the balls in the bag for you.
Because I've been Ro now. And I've been cold. It's snowing. It's miserable, and you've got to do it on your own.
Yeah, and I saw it last night, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, there's another example of it. Like, as you get older, you'll get a lot more aware of what people do and certain things like that. And I saw it last night. So, life skills are very, very, you know, transferable to the stuff that we do on a daily basis. And what the lads that are, like, on the college program don't realise is it's every single thing. It's turning up for the bus on time. It's getting the
punctuality.
Yeah, deadlines.
I mean, I said it when I
turned
up here. I was like, on time is late.
Yeah.
It's just punctuality is. It's the easiest life skill to have that make people think highly of you.
And then look at coaching. Imagine turning up to a coaching session 10 minutes late and you're the only coach there.
That's one thing I have, because obviously I'm on a coaching degree. And that's one big rule for me. I thought in my first week, I've made a couple of friends by this point, and we were like, what time should we turn up to the lecture then? And everyone was like, oh, well, we'll turn up. The lecture starts at 9. I was like, oh, we'll leave at 8:50. I was like, hey? You want to get there 1 minute before? I was like, what if something goes wrong here? No, I'm leaving at 8:20. I'll get there 20 minutes early. And I even thought that was... I was even panicking then, and I was on my heels in my room. I was like, I'm ready to go. It's like punctuality as a coach. It's big thing, because if I think about it now, like, if I turned up to a game, to a meet time even 1 minute late, I just get worried. What do the parents think? Oh my god, are they going to trust me with their kids and stuff like that? Because that doesn't look good on me. It's the easiest way to have to give a good impression of to people.
100%, and I couldn't think of anything worse. Like, and I had it when I was younger, and I think I remember, like, I was really, really struggling to get to a session, and I almost have, like, sick pains inside, thinking, like, oh my god, like, the parents going to be there, what are they going to do? And I got there, and I explained about the traffic and the situation. They were like, don't worry. And I was like, no, like, I'll stay an extra 20 minutes after to make up for the time. But you know, it's all of those transferable skills in life that it's even more sort of precious when you're working with children yourself. You're looking after people's kids. When you did work part-time with us during the college, so these are early stages, what were some of the most valuable things you learnt about coaching and managing people?
A big one was actually not that long ago. I learnt from Lee. Was under 14s last season. It was our last game of the season, and we played at KBO, not the KBO. Love the pitch. And we played on there on the Thursday. Was it Thursday? It was during the week. Played unreal. They were great, and it was Lee's last game and stuff like that, and they got pummeled. They were not on it. And I remember being livid at full time, and we stood outside because they all went in the changing room, and they were all laughing and joking, and I went, oh my god, like, they don't care. That's how can that be the case? I was like, that's really disrespectful to you. It's like disrespectful to, like, we've given them this great opportunity to play on the pitch, and they've just sort of sat it off. I went to the change room, and Lee was just like, one of those days, guys, thanks for the last few years. And he said, have a good summer and stuff like that. And I went out and I was like, what's that about? And he went, it's not what you know, if I went and shouted at them, I'd feel better, and it's what I need to hear, but it's not what they need to hear. They need and I thought about that from a player perspective as, actually, when I was younger, there were many times where when I went first in at Frimley at 16, I look at myself, I made loads of mistakes, and I mean, if I was Browner, they could have turned around and really ripped into me, but they didn't. And I thought, actually, that's what I needed to hear in that moment. I needed to hear that making mistakes is okay, having an off day is okay. And that's something that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
There's another one as well. I think it was one of the first things I did was a wraparound at South Farnborough with Tyler and his enthusiasm. And I looked at the bond he had with all the kids, and they loved it.
Yeah.
They were really like, "Oh, Tyler, hello!" And I was like, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be really excited about anything that we're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's when you turn up to a session and the kids are like, "Coach Andrew," you think, I'm ready. You know, you might have had a long day and you're like, "Oh, I really don't want to be here. I'm tired, it's cold." But then they all go, "Yeah, we're here and you're here and it's going to be amazing." I think, that's it.
Yeah, and you know what? That is, they're the rewards. And I'll speak about rewards, like that feeling when you walk through the door. And one thing to mention there is the fact that the amount of different environments of coaching that you've been is going to help you your profile. You know, wrap around all of this, like all different. But those little, and I find it competitive in some ways, but with myself. So I'm going into a +1 wraparound at Connaught.
Yeah.
And Laura's doing it as well. And Sophie was doing it, and she's gone to another school, and I'm going in there, and I was like, Soph, I'm basically going to go in there and be 10 times better than what you are. Like, I'm coming in with ideas and this, and this. And she was like, I was like, I am. Like, because I might even, if I have to go and cover Lee's after school club lesson, I'm going to leave such an impact there that the following week, and they love Lee at Frimley. Yeah. I went in there and I'd done a session there. And then I went back 2 weeks later to go and cover him. They're like, "Yes, you're back." And I was just like, "Yeah, I've left something there."
It's like you leave a lasting impact. When you can have an impact on someone's life, it's like, it's brilliant.
And they're the little rewards, aren't they? Okay, and then obviously you left college. You went to university. The experience has started. Why did you choose? Because, I mean, we've had conversations. I remember when you were 15 and you were sort of thinking about the college program, you were thinking about America and all of these different things. I, all of a sudden, got your career in my head, that probably something that I would have wanted to have done, but I went a different way. So I was like, right, so Andrew, so maybe go to America. He might want to do the coaching. I was like, right, this is what I would do if I was you. Go to uni, do your uni degree here. Then I would say go out, see as many different cultures, different environments. And that's not just...
we had that conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, well...
Not just see what it's like in Spain, see what it's like in somewhere in Africa, see what it's like in the US and stuff like that. But see what it's like in Surrey, see what it's like in inner London, because they're different cultures in themselves and different kids.
Yeah.
I say go and basically see all these different environments, build up this massive profile, and then when you come back, you'll be a beast. That's so I saw that pathway in my head, and obviously part of that you have done. So you've gone to university. Why did you choose to study the football coaching talent identification?
Talent development,
Development, yeah. Why did you choose that?
So originally, I was dead set on go to the college for 2 years, maybe 3, then go to America and have fun there, because it would be fun. I didn't want to do something. I never wanted to do uni because it seemed like such a chore. And I still say that I'm not really at uni in what I'm doing now, because it doesn't feel like, when I talk to my friends, like when we've all been back for Christmas and we go to the pub and sit down and it's like, "Oh, how's uni been?" And I'm listening to them like, that is completely different to what I'm doing.
But then that's also the same conversation of you speaking to your college mates when you were at college, wasn't it, really? So your mates that went to Farnborough 6th, and then you at college, like a football college, like I'm assuming there was differences
completely
as well.
Like when they were in exam season, I think I was already done. And I was working every day, and they're like, "Oh, I've got so and so exams tomorrow," and I was like, "I've got Connaught after school club tomorrow." But I remember my mum said, "Oh, this looks interesting. There's an open day up at Wembley, football uni. Why don't we go have a look at that?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, we'll go have a look at it." But I was dead set on going to America. Even when I went in and I looked around, I was like, "Yeah, this is cool." Dead set on America. Guy came in and started talking that had been there, and he was a Fulham fan. And he started talking about his experiences, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice. But America." And then I remember the coaching lecturers started talking, and they were like, "So you'll get to do this, you'll get to do that, and you'll get to do that." And I went, "Oh God, I have to do this." I remember leaving. I walked out the doors, and I looked at my mum and went, "I've got to go here." I've got to go here.
Yeah.
Because what it was for me, and I've said this many times to people when they said, why did you go here? Why didn't you go to America? Because when I talked to my family and stuff like that, they were like, but you were dead set on going to America. I was like, America probably would have been more fun over the 3 to 4 years, but the exit route, when I leave university, the contacts I'll make, because I'm on a course with 20 other coaches who will all go on to coach good level. I'm surrounded by like some really, really smart people who will go far. And I don't claim to be one of the best. I think there's people way better than me that will go way further than me. But I've got that contact now. And the exit route that I'll get through that, the opportunities I've already got. I mean, I've been there 4 months and I've already, taken a team through my company to West Ham. And stuff like that. And I think I wouldn't have been anywhere near that if I'd done anything else this year. So it was the exit route more for me. It was like, I'll come back from America, I'll have had more fun, but I'll be in the same place. But I'll go here, I'll grow up, I'll become a better person, a better coach, I'll make loads of new connections, and then I'll leave it in a much better place with more opportunities. Yeah,
because I think also, I don't even know if the similar sort of courses run out in America, but even if it was, like, our level of coaching here is probably more advanced than it would be out there. So, I mean, if you had the same course and it was out there, you probably got the fun. And the football side of it is obviously probably a little bit more. I always say that American football out there, or soccer, they're quite on it, aren't they? Like the leagues and everything,
for way more professional.
Yeah,
when I talk to people that have gone out there that I know, that I look at them and I go, oh, I could have been that, but I'm actually having loads of fun. And I get my element of football with that through the uni team, who are some of the players we've got in there, but.
What's the most eye-opening thing about your course so far that you've experienced, the course that you're on?
How much you have to just make connections. It's not it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
In coaching, it's a very much your life could change overnight through one connection. And we had an employability day where it was like a coaching. They brought in people to talk, and we had like a guest speaker come in, Jason Yule. He's the assistant manager at Cambridge, and there was like 100 people in the room, all coaches, and everyone's in there trying to make connections with like these guest speakers they've got in there, because you never know if you say something that sticks with that person, and you make a connection. Like LinkedIn's a massive thing at my uni. They made sure first thing they did when we sat down in that first lecture was, if you haven't already, download LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Get a profile, because you will make so many connections through that. If you can go and talk to someone who's a coach and then say, oh, what's your LinkedIn? And you leave a lasting impact, they can contact you.
Yeah.
And it's how much you have to really just go and talk to people. You just have to, and I mean, people who know me probably don't think this, but I am terrified of social interaction. I mean, even last week, on my way back from my session, I was in McDonald's, and I'd ordered chicken selects. I opened my chicken selects, it's mozzarella dippers. And I thought, I'll just eat it. Because I don't want to have that confrontation of, I'm so sorry, but I ordered chicken selects. I hate that. Yeah. It's almost the fear of what could happen. It's almost all the negatives that could happen, not the positives that could come from it. Yeah. And I've had to, now I think,
break those barriers a bit.
I have to sort of step outside my comfort zone here, and I have to go and talk to people because I don't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person that misses out on an opportunity because I didn't think, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. It is I'll tell you what, it's a daunting thing, because I had experiences that I went to do my level 3 goalkeeping at St George's Park. And I'm in there, like, been put forward for Fulham, so I'm there in my Fulham gear, and then I'm rocking up. You had a Chelsea coach maybe, then you had like some lower league clubs and some non-league clubs there, so I'm walking around thinking like, the big I am with the Fulham badge on, then people wanted to come up and speak to me. And then I went to another qualification another time when I wasn't working at Fulham, I was just wearing the complete stuff, and just because I didn't have that badge on there, I didn't have the same approach. People were approaching me because of the badge that I was wearing, because I was wearing my own brand and people might not have known it. I had to step out of my comfort zone because people weren't coming to me, and I had to go to them.
Yeah.
And I had to, step forward and make those links and make those connections. But like you said, I went to a networking event about just before Christmas. I think it was like early December, through the company up in London, and I was speaking to, like, mooching around. I'm a bit of a social butterfly, but at times I can be like very much within myself. And then I just started speaking to this guy. Real long conversation with him, just a great guy. And then we all sat down because they had some guest speakers, and he was like the main guest speaker. He went and sat down. I was like, I just had like a really open chat with him. Then at the end of the guest speaking, and he was like a CEO of like this outdoor adventure kids providing thing, like quite well known. He put up all this stuff, and I was like, I've just had a really long conversation with him, and some funny things were said, and some great things were said. And at the end of it, he come up to me and he goes, "You're a really nice guy. Like, I spoke to you for ages." And I was like, I didn't know that he had a badge like I had that Fulham badge, and I was just talking to him. But actually, he was a really respected guy. He connected me on LinkedIn, and it's really like, it's all about your concept and your mindset of like where you're around, and just going out of your comfort zone, putting yourself out there and giving it a go, and then you just don't know what kind of come back from it. And I was like, gosh, that worked out really well, because he's come up to me and he really likes me and he's connecting me on LinkedIn and stuff. But it was it's you got to step out of your comfort zones and many times. And I always think, like, put me in front of a set of kids to do a coaching session, it turns into a show for me. I've got my front row, which is my kids. I've got the parents on the outside of the Astro. They're like my balcony viewers, and they need to be able to hear me. And that's what I say to some of the coaches now. I'm like, everything's a show for me. I want to make sure that you're having a good time, and you're learning something, and you can hear what they're learning, because I'm loud enough, and I'm excited. Like, oh my God, they're gonna next goal wins. Like it's
so, I mean? You're so conscious of when the kids are having fun. You can feel the parents' enjoyment in,
hear that little laughter.
You can hear I think I had one on Saturday. I had 2 teams because one of our coaches wasn't back yet, so I had 14 players. I started with a rondo, which was the first time I'd done it in 4 months, because the first thing that my lecturer said to me when we were doing arrival activities in our first week was, if anyone does a rondo, I will leave, because he said that there's no game realism in it at all, because of, and I did see it, and I haven't actually done a rondo up until that point since, because when I think about it, you're never really in a game just passing the ball in a circle around 2 players. But I did it because it was a bit of enjoyment, and it got everyone sort of meshed together, and it went from 2 teams to 1 team. And I remember one moment where I was like, 2 kids had been in there for 20 minutes, and I joined in, and I put it through the middle of them, and then it came back to me, and I did like a drag back and put it through one of their legs. And I just ran around the circle screaming, "They've got a season ticket!" And I could like see the parents on the hill laughing and stuff like that. And I thought, right, that's good. I can see that they're happy with me and stuff like that. I get such enjoyment out of when the kids are in fits, like rolling on the floor laughing, and the parents are as well. It really helps you.
It's funny you say that, because I was speaking to Lee and Toby that were on their C licence, and they come back saying the same thing, saying the coach that was delivering it to them said that he doesn't see the importance or the realism of a rondo to a practice. And I was just like, it's a social game.
That's what it is, yeah.
It's a social, and also this comes from the Spanish side of it, is Pep and like Xavi and Iniesta and stuff, and Messi when at Barcelona as well. Like, you had to earn the right of getting out of the rondo.
Yeah.
You had to work hard, like, and it was if you're not good enough to get out, you stay in there. And it's that mindset of just like, we're going to keep the ball away from you. And it's sort of that, do you know what I mean? It was a part of their sort of ethos of, we're going to move the ball so well that you can't get out of here.
That's where, when you said earlier about like experiencing different cultures.
Yeah.
If you go straight along with just my culture, Surrey, and you go off of C licence, B licence, A licence, and you only go off of that, you'll think, rondo, terrible. But if you go and experience other cultures, you'll see why the Spanish love it, why they still do it at the top level. And you go, actually, I disagree with you there, and I agree with you there, but I agree with you there in a different way, and I disagree with you there in a different way. And you take the best of everything to be the best version you can be.
I watched like the inside Anfield and the behind the scenes stuff for Liverpool.
Yeah.
and they're always doing one-touch rondos around.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this is the team that's winning the Premier League. Only lost last night, but it doesn't matter. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's always a social element to it. People might think, oh, it doesn't relate to the game. Hold on a minute. Social element of the game is like one of our corners. It's one of our aspects, the psychological part of it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all a part of the game. It's, you know, there's so many practices that you look at that think that might not happen, that specific one in a game, but that little 1-2 triangle might happen in the game, not over and over again, but it might happen in the game. So, yeah, I mean, it's all opinions, and that's one thing we're always learning. Just quickly on that university experience, because what's quite good about this is you've taken this coaching pathway. This is why the podcast is called, this episode is called A Career in Sport, and people might look at this university pathway as an option for them. I know, obviously, I've spoken to a couple of lads on my programme.
Yeah.
What's the balance of the theory that you learn compared to the practical side of it for people that want to potentially look at it?
The way I look at it is like you are constantly on, say, UEFA C.
Yeah.
You do get your practical side of it, which can sometimes from the outside look a bit like you're just having a kickabout. But if you really, you know, make the most of it, there will always be someone delivering, and you can always learn off of them. Yeah. Even if you're like participating in someone's session, you are playing, but you can also be learning off of them. So like when our lecturer, because we do more theory than we do practical, because we all have jobs outside, and you take that as practical learning as well, because you're always learning. When you are coaching, you're thinking that went well, that didn't go so well, how can I make that better, how can I make the thing that did go well even better next time? And you're always learning when you are coaching. But when you're doing the practical in your lessons, you're learning off of everyone. You're learning off of what does he do really well, what does the lecturer, when he coaches, that coaches at Reading, and one that does England ID for goalkeepers, and one that's coached at Spurs under 21s women's, and you look at them and you go, right, what can I take from them and what they do really well and help me be better? So that's one thing I have, you know, 8 really good lecturers who are all like really good coaches and have such wealth of experience, and you can just, you're with them, you know, 3 times a week, and you can just prod them for knowledge, and they're so happy to just talk.
Open,
they're so open. If you have a question, you can be there for 5-10 minutes talking, and they are so happy to do it, and it's making the most of it. You know, if you've got a question, however stupid it seems in your head, just ask. It's like, that's one thing for me, is you get that time in the classroom and you learn everything that is on this course, and everything that actually I haven't sort of learnt one thing yet that I thought, I already knew that, or I disagree with that. You learn so much from the theory, and then you get to put it into practice in the practicals, and you get assessed on it, and you get assessed on your knowledge, and they tell you how you can be better, and it's just so good to get better. Because I went there and I think, I don't have all the answers. I want to be wrong, because I want to get told how to be better. And that's why my first assignment, I was like, brilliant, because I didn't do awfully. I didn't do amazing. I got more criticism than I got like positives. I skimmed through the positives, went straight to the criticism, because I thought, how can I be better? Yeah.
It's crazy, because I remember in a coaching session before, this was quite a few years ago actually, but I always remember it. It was gathered the kids around, because we were having a little chat about what we've just been doing, and I don't know whether it was me asking a question or sort of leaving it open. Maybe I, you know, asked them a question about the session. One kid goes like this, and I saw it, right, and I looked at him and I said, "You're stupid for not asking." And he was like, "What?" I think who was it? It was a particular person, because they were like 12. Yeah, I just said, "You're stupid for not asking." They were, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You think what you were about to ask me was a stupid question, but you're actually stupid for not asking the question."
Yeah.
And he was like, and then he come out and he said, "Oh, I thought something." I was like, "Say it then, because you're thinking about it, just say it, and then I'll give you the answer after." But it stuck with me, because it was like a little saying that I started bringing. I used it for quite a while. For like a year, I was like, "You're stupid for not asking. You're stupid for not asking the question." Yeah. So, moving on, because we're coming in towards the back end of this now. So, you're obviously at uni.
Yes.
You've got this passion. You've always had this passion for football. I think you're really building this passion for coaching. You're picking up the rewards that you're getting from coaching. I think you're seeing, you know, the elements around it, and you're seeing these journeys. And I'm in a real great place where I've had, you're an example of it. There's so many other people, and sometimes you're a long journey for me. You're like from 7 to the age that you are now, but I'm having people for like 3 years and then they're moving on and doing stuff. I might be having someone for a month, or I might be having, you know what I mean? But I've got a lot of them. So what I love now, because I've been doing it such a long time, is I'll get a little random message from, I spoke to the guys about it. I got a massive message from a guy called Miles Roberts. He was a goalkeeper. I got a message from his dad, and it was just like, wanted to keep you updated. Here's a video, playing professionally, blah blah blah. And it's all those, they come in all the time, and it's just like, they're the rewards. I'm thinking, do you know what? I've had a good time doing what I'm doing. Future goals. So what are your next steps after university? How do you think you're gonna break into this coaching world? How are you gonna do it? What are you gonna do? What have you thought about it? Because you're only in year 1.
I mean, I have thought about it, and there's been 4 or 5 times where I've been, right, I'm dead set on doing this. I'm dead set on doing that. And I think, I don't know. And that's nice in a way.
Yeah.
Because I think I've always known what I want to do next. Like, when I was in school, it was like, right, complete.
Yeah.
When I was at complete, it was like, oh, America. And then it was UCFB.
Yeah.
And for once, I'm thinking, I have no idea where this is going to take me. But it's not because of a lack of... Is that me? No, that's something else.
That's probably me.
About 8 phones. But there's so many avenues I can go down.
Yeah.
There's so many ways I can go. It's not like there's a lack of opportunities. I just think, why rush into it? Because coaching is a long career. And I thought, I don't have all the answers. I don't want to rush into it too quickly because I see it.
Yeah.
I have one friend at the minute at uni he's put himself into a really, really good job. But I've thought, I think you've put yourself in too early.
Yeah,
and
but
he's already turned around and gone, I'm struggling with this. And I've thought, there's no need to rush it. There's no need to think I need to be at the top now. Yeah. I'd like to be always getting better opportunities. And I'd be lying if I'd say I'm happy with where I am in terms of, like, right now I'm content with it because I'm learning still. But if I was in the same place in maybe 2 years' time, maybe even a year's time, maybe even 6 months' time, I'd sort of say, I'm getting sort of, you know, a little bit impatient.
Yeah.
I want to always be improving and stuff like that. So always getting better, always having new opportunities. Because the good thing about coaching is, until you get to a really top level, you don't just have to do one job.
Yeah, exactly.
You do. I mean, I remember there was a time in my first year where I was in about 8 different teams that you were coaching. Yeah. And I think, oh God, how's he got time for that?
Yeah.
But you do, because it's not just the time on the pitch as well with coaching, it's the time you have off the pitch and stuff like that. You really have to, it's not, the job isn't 1 hour a week on a pitch, it's hour a week, and then the hours you spend planning, the hours you spend reviewing, the hours you then spend planning again. Yeah. And it's just a constant cycle. Yeah, you've got, the thing is, you've got yourself in a good position. And I always say to people, like, your 20s, like 20 to 30s, is it's a good time to experiment. So, like, especially when you don't know what you want. Like, you've got coaching and you've got sport and you've got football as a passion, and it will be a career. It might be that it comes a little bit earlier for you, but when someone doesn't know what they want to do, between 20 and 30, go and do this, try that. Go and work at Tesco's, go and work behind a bar, go and work in a warehouse. Like, do all these different things. You'll build up your confidence, you'll build up your people skills, you'll build up your experience of life. And then I always think that you get to around 30, and it doesn't always have to be 30. Yours might be earlier, it might be a bit later. Once you've got all this stuff, you can then build your life. And what I would say to you now is, you're working for a company now, work for there until you get to a point where you think, I don't think I can take much more away from this. And then move on. Go to a small company and maybe help them build up. Get to that point, go to a massive company, go and work in, like, do you know what I mean? And go to a club, go to a small club, go to a big club, like, all these different things. Wow, like, the more you can absorb, if you're like a sponge and take on so much, the more powerful you're going to become. And then you will eventually pick what you want to do. Because, well, that's one thing that I had at the start of this year. I was I'd very much fallen out of love with playing. I think the back end of last season with Frimley was fun at times, but and even in the start of this season, it felt like a chore. And this is one thing I'll say to young coaches is keep playing, because you learn so much from playing that you then take into coaching. And to be fair, I got back into football through playing for uni, and then I met someone a couple of weeks back and they play at a good level, better than me. And she got me back she's ignited that fire in my belly to play again. And I'm now there, like, I played for you last night. And I don't know what you think, but I have that spark back playing. And I feel like I've learnt so much from still playing at a good level, and then I take it into my coaching, and I think, well, I want to have a long career playing and have coaching on the side, and then once I can't do that anymore, that becomes the main focus. And I can learn in both avenues and then focus it all in on one, because that is still helping me, because I pick so much off of like the coaches I have at uni, and you still when I play for you, and whoever I play for, Matt in the reserves. I pick so much off of people, and I think, right, how can I go and use that, and how can I use these experiences that I'm getting to sort of shape me as a coach?
Here's a statement.
Yeah.
Every single player should do a coaching badge. And I'll tell you why. Because when you play after understanding what your coach wants, and you are a coach, you see the game completely differently. Coming into the last part of it, do you have a dream role or level of football you'd like to coach in the future?
If I could do coaching as a profession, like as my full-time job, I'm doing it 7 days a week, 24 hours, then that's the dream at whatever level. Obviously, I'd like to go as high as I can. And I definitely think now, in terms of who I've met and stuff, the stigma that you have to play at the high level to coach at the high level is not something that I believe in anymore.
No.
By the people I've met that have gone higher than they necessarily should have through that statement, they've really smashed that wall down. If we're going dream role, England manager, dream role, like, that's everyone's dream. Well, not everyone's, but in terms of like coaches and wise and like managing the country, imagine that. That's like the dream role. It's not unattainable, because if you think it's unattainable, then
I think everyone thinks
trying to get somewhere.
I think everyone thinks it is because of the stigma behind it. It wouldn't surprise me that, and there's stigma behind, obviously, when they had the thought of a female going in to do the men's job, like everyone was like, well, that can't really happen. But there will be at some point. We've seen examples of it. Coaches that are the knowledge and the experience that they've had will take them to highest possible level, and some of them never even played football before. Yeah,
one of the best coaches I know, she's a girl, and she's so much smarter than 90% of our course, which is mainly male. And I lean on her so much for advice and stuff. And imagine telling someone that 20, 30 years ago. Like, you'd be laughed at. But like, going back to the dream role thing, like, if I can have, the England one's like the dream. Everyone has that dream when they're younger of playing for England. That's my dream. Right. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm not sat here saying I'm good enough to do it. But everyone's got a dream, haven't they? If I was to go for a more quote unquote attainable one, I've always liked the idea of coaching like what you do in non-league. I want to get my foot in the door with that now. Like, even if it's like I did the 18s earlier. Like, if I could do a job like that, especially like 18s, because I didn't have the best experience playing at 18s. My first year was great. Didn't do very well as a team, but then my second year was horrid. Injury ridden. Third year, horrid as well. I'd love to help players make that step that I found tough. So I think maybe a full-time 18s role, something like that. Full-time 23s, maybe a non-league manager's role. And it doesn't even have to be a manager, because I think a manager is different to a coach.
Massively.
Right? Different to a coach. If I could be a coach in that environment, maybe not the one that has the tough conversations, picks the team every week. Maybe the one that goes, the manager turns around and goes, right, we need a solution. We're losing 2-0. I could be the person that goes, gotcha. that sort of person.
Yeah.
That coach.
And I've done both. I was 3.5 years doing the coaching, and now I'm into the second year of doing the management, and it's so different. And I had to break down barriers, especially this year, about not going out to set up my cones because I've got a coaching team around me that's doing it. And then I was sort of like twiddling my thumbs thinking, well, what am I meant to do here? And then I thought to myself, right, use this time wisely to start speaking to players, putting them aside, having all that sort of stuff. So it's been a bit of a learning curve for me. I've quite enjoyed both, to be fair.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably an easier role doing the coaching because you turn up, you find the problem, get the solution, put your cones out, do your session, pick the cones up. Managers is more... It's a full-time speak to them on a constant daily basis, organise the team and who's in, who's out, and speak to your coaches about certain stuff but then I suppose both of those roles I do on a daily basis anyway.
Exactly. So non-league manager, that is your main role.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't pay you, because with your job, even if you do like a 9 to 5, you leave at 5 and that's sort of done. If you're a non-league manager, you're there. If you've got a game on a Tuesday at 7:45, and a player messages you at 10 a.m. going, oh, I've just, just been told at work I've got to stay late, I'm not going to be able to make it. You've got to then find a solution.
Yeah.
And that is your full-time job.
Yeah. So reflection and advice, I'm moving on to that one. I did have one more question for the future goals, and because I'm just conscious of the time, especially my battery on that.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave in the football coaching world?
I don't want to be one of those coaches that everyone goes, oh yeah, he gets results, but he's a
yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, because I've played for them, and especially like in youth football.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier on, you can have a really good winning team. You everyone listening, and me can probably think about that one team when you were a kid that everyone wanted to play for that team. They won everything, but that coach made them really good for that team. But did he make them? But they're not gonna play for you forever. They might do in very rare cases, but they're gonna need to go and play for someone else. And if they only know this way of football, and you don't let them find out for themselves what works best for them,
I couldn't agree.
You're sort of holding back their development. So I want to be someone that people go, oh, when your name comes up, like, he's a good coach.
He was good for me.
He was good for me. And maybe I didn't win everything with him. Maybe I didn't, get to the top level playing for him. Maybe he wasn't the one that made me the best. Well, that's not the way to think of it. Maybe he wasn't the one that got me to the top level.
Yeah.
But he was the one that had a long-lasting impact and gave me, advice and taught me so much.
Yeah.
Because for me, especially growing up, technically it was there. Mentally it wasn't. Still isn't really.
Yeah.
And I think about that, and I think, right, that's what held me back from going further. That's what held me back from going and playing, higher than I am now. Can I help these kids not have that problem? Can I help them just have fun?
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, so what?
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Ted Lasso. It's my favourite show.
Yeah.
Be a goldfish.
Yeah.
I say that every single session. Be a goldfish.
Yeah.
10-second memory, happiest animal in the world. If you make a mistake, so what? You didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good. Like I said, you're at the start of your journey, mate, and like my aim is to, I don't know how many years it will be down the line. Hopefully I'm still doing bits of what I want to do, and if I'm still recording some podcasts, and I want to see what your journey's like in 5-10 years, see what progressions you've made. You've got the challenge. You've seen the challenge?
I have seen the challenge, yes.
So, let me just get it ready. So I haven't updated the form, but Sam also got 0 picks, I think.
Right.
Yeah, he did. So Katie's on 4, Mark Gormo's 3, Koo, Rich, and Sam are both picked 0. So basically the game.
Let's get on the podium then.
Yeah.
What is it?
So you got 3 lives.
Yeah.
You've got to pick one out, whatever colour it is. You just put it there or something.
Yeah.
And then you pick out another one. If it's the same colour, that's 1. But if it's not the same colour, you put them back. Try and remember where they are. And then I would suggest picking some other ones. So you got to match the colour.
Okay.
Right. So we've gone for a black. I'll hold it for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So we got black. Oh, still got 3 lives.
Not a bad start.
But it's not a bad start. Don't clear the board either, because it's a lot of money you win. Oh,
Right, no, I know they're there now. Go on, put it back.
Okay.
I know they're there.
Okay. 2. Katie could be in trouble here. Still got 2 lives. Oh, white again. Okay.
Right,
Where was it here?
That was there, yeah.
So you still got 2 lives, haven't you?
Okay.
Yellow. Was there a yellow?
No, there wasn't on the inner circle. Can I remember? Can I remember? I think it was this one. Yes, Gormo, got you.
So you got 1 life left, yeah? But you're on 3. You're level with Gormo. Oh, we haven't had red before, have we?
We have.
Oh no. I forgot he's colourblind. Okay, yeah. Something I forgot to mention. Andrew's
is colourblind as anything.
Andrew's colourblind.
So is that one I've done?
Why didn't you tell? Yeah, you've done. But you got 3. I forgot to mention that he's actually colourblind, and it was always a pain. And to be honest, like there's good coaches and there's bad coaches. And at certain times when Andrew's growing up, I used to be a bad coach because he could never see orange and yellows. Was it?
I remember that was you almost ruined my chance at Frimley because I went into the first warm-up of my first friendly that I was there for, because I remember my first friendly I was late for because you forgot to tell me I was playing. It's the first warm-up I ever did. I went in and I was there going, I'm having a great time, and Brown had called me out the warm-up, went, you all right, mate? And I was like, what? And he went, you keep passing it to the wrong team. And I was like, what do you mean? He went, you're on the yellows. And I went, I passed it. He was like, you passed into the oranges. And I went, mate, I'm sorry, I'm colourblind, I can't see. And he went, Hats didn't tell us this. And then you were just there laughing at me.
He used to give him you used to make sure the bibs were similar colours so he couldn't see it. But anyway, appreciate it, mate. Thanks for coming in. We'll do it again.
Me. Yeah.
We'll do it again in years to come when you've furthered your career. But career in sport is definitely doable, and it's for someone like you. So
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.